Aha, it's not a bolt action. Oh my. That's pretty good in many ways. Hello reformers and welcome back to Freeman. Now when we left off we were attempting to take Lubni and well, I got a little bit too deep into their enemy's space and I basically, well, took a couple of bullets to the face. So yeah, anyway, as you can see here we did actually level up in the siege previously, and that means that I'm going to be finally getting my last point of marksmanship, and that makes all the difference in our recoil and all that wonderful stuff. Let's actually get another point in leadership as well, and then we'll level up a couple of points in assault rifle. Even though I am currently using an assault rifle, I guess it kind of makes a bit of sense to do that. I do have a couple of extra pieces of loot, but unfortunately I haven't been able to find a merchant that actually has enough money for me to take advantage of. So as you can see, I've done a little bit of changing up here. I've basically taken the only unassigned units that we had, which were a couple of bandits, and put them into their respective squads. And I'm actually going to take a couple of people, actually just 2 people from the soy sauce squad, and we're going to, you know, just fill out the other people here. There we go. That seems like a good plan. So we all have 5, so it's kind of nice to have all 5, because I think we can actually only field 45 as far as I'm aware on the battlefield. So anyway, let's head into Lubni. I'm a bit worried about that 100 strong army very, very close by, so that's the reason why I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit here and getting into the battle a little bit earlier than otherwise. I probably would have waited a little bit longer, but you can see here my health is basically down to 50%, which is pretty awful at the moment. But that's basically the best I can do. I just really, really want to get this out of the way, because I don't, as I say, I don't want that very, very strong army to be like, hello there, I'm gonna kill you, and all kinds of things. So anyway, let's move these fellows up ahead here. We're gonna do our standard fan tactic. I guess it is kind of like a fan maneuver, I guess, because we are kind of spreading ourselves out in sort of a fan situation, I guess. You could also call it wheat or something, or yeah, never mind. Let's not do that. We could call it wheat actually, because it's kind of a food, so might make sense. But yeah, let's not do that. It's a bit cringy, isn't it? Anyway, we're gonna move on. We do have a little bit of the cover of night here, not as much as I'd like if I'm actually gonna feel confident in my camouflage abilities. You know what I'm actually going to do though? I'm actually going to use a medkit right now, because I am not confident in my survival. So we are going to try our best just to make sure that I don't take fatal damage this time around. Although, saying that, I don't really mind too much if I do, because in general, sometimes that's just how the game goes, you know? Sometimes you get lucky and you get into a really nice advantageous position, and other times you get pinned down and you just take those bullets and they end up absolutely murdering you. So yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes. Otherwise, I'm gonna be very much looking for that next level as well, because I very much want to get that extra point in leadership so I can actually start leveling up my skills once again and finally get commanding. And the other thing, I can't remember what the other thing is called actually right now, but yeah, those skills, get those party increasing skills a little bit higher up. As you can see, there's actually a couple of people right here. Gonna use this tree a little bit. Well, that was easy enough. And I guess that is going to happen when you're facing mostly cadets, so I don't suppose we have to worry too much about them actually murdering us, but I do have to be a bit careful about the higher tier ones, and you know how it can be, you know, I tend to get a little bit overconfident in these kinds of situations, and then I run in and I pay very dearly for my overconfidence. So let's try to be a little bit more cautious. What? I thought they were actually enemy units. Are they not actually enemy units over there? Okay. I have no idea. Oh, okay. That was pretty harsh. I'm not entirely sure where I'm being shot from to take that much damage. So I guess I'm just going to continue moving forward. Okay, we are taking a couple of casualties right here. I'm actually kind of surprised that we're taking so many casualties right now. I mean, yeah, you know, it is gonna happen, but I think we actually have the advantage, don't we? I mean, we are technically in the superior cover, but I guess many of our opponents are probably taking cover behind buildings and things like that, so that is obviously going to make much more sense in terms of cover. I'm actually going to try and flank the best I can here and see if I can take out a couple of people along the way. Just gotta heal myself a little bit. We don't want to die in the last 15 units. That is something we definitely do not want. So let's make sure that doesn't happen. There's only 5 remaining now. But we still have to be cautious. Yep, Pozna sharpshooter. There's definitely one remaining, as you can blatantly see. Able to eliminate our freedom sniper with ease. And I think that was him. One remaining. I did hear a shot come from over in this direction, so it could be that he's just hiding in this building, perhaps. We know that they tend to do that sometimes, but maybe not this time. Interesting. Okay, so let's tell everyone just to go in and just kind of scout around a little bit here. It's going to make it a lot easier to pin him down. A little quicker. But maybe I can find him myself. Ah, it seems like we finally found him. I'm hearing some gunfire in the distance, as you can see. I don't exactly know where the fellow is, though. He is proving to be extremely... Ah, yeah, look at that. He's a combat specialist. He's being very, very effective at staying alive, and indeed taking out some of our units as well by the looks of things. Nope, never mind, he was killed by a combat medic, and there you go. We did actually lose 13 casualties, but hopefully we'll be able to take a couple of them prisoner. And, oh my, it appears we are pretty lucky. We are pretty lucky in regards to actually getting the VIM marksman rifle. That is pretty crazy. Wow, I was actually not expecting on getting anything like that. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so we're now able to imprison all of those Pozna units, and we're going to be making them into their own squad, or we're going to be filling them into the remaining squads. So there we have it. That was a very, very close, well, I wouldn't say close, but I'd say it's one of those sieges that you don't really want to drag out, because those Pozna guys... They're pretty good. They are pretty good. Okay, so let's try and get these to join us. There we go. Every single one joined us. Fantastic. Alright, so let's have a look and see which ones we actually need to supplement a little bit here. Wow. Roast dinner did not have a good time. They really did not have a good time. That is pretty awful. Okay, so I was hopeful that I might be able to recruit some more soldiers here, but unfortunately it doesn't seem like I'm able to do that. So yeah, I can't really do much because I've already sold here actually, so that's a bit of a shame. But we are now able to equip the VIM marksman rifle, and I'm actually going to be doing that. And we're going to see how it goes. I don't exactly know how this is going to work because I don't think it has a scope. As you can quite clearly see, it doesn't seem to have a scope. So do I need to use the ACOG scope again? Well, why not? Let's equip it and see what happens. And I do have a little bit of ammo for the sniper rifle, so I'm actually going to add a little bit more just in case I want to use the marksman rifle a little bit more than the assault rifle. And otherwise, I think we're pretty good to head onward. Now, the one thing that I think might be nice is if one of the AI faction armies from perhaps the ARF attempts to maybe attack the FCA at some point, but as the ARF are our next targets, I'm not entirely sure how well that's going to go for them. Anyway, there is a deserter army right here. It might make sense for us to attack them, and I think I'm going to do that, but I do need to wait a little bit for our party's HP to come back. Let's actually just take a quick look and see whether, yeah, they do need a couple more people, so it seems like we're going to have to switch a couple of these guys out once again and supplement them. I mean, that's in general what I tend to keep the overflowing squads for, just so that I can actually add people in every, you know, every sort of now and again, whenever I may need an additional unit here and there. And we're just making sure that we have 5 every single time. What I am going to need to do at some point, though, I don't know whether you want to see this actually, so by all means let me know if you want to see it, but I'm probably going to need to kill a couple more bandits, do some more tasks and things like that to actually gain our money back, because as you can see, my money is currently at 8,000. Technically, I could go to every single one of our towns and retrieve our taxes, which would actually make quite a bit of sense. And speaking of that, I'm actually unsure whether... yeah, that is actually getting its taxes. Okay, that's fantastic. I was thinking to myself, oh, they're not getting taxes. That's not very good. Okay, so let's actually head in versus this deserter army right here. I'm hopeful that the deserter army is going to be just as good and just as profitable as it always has been. And maybe we'll try and take Chernivka in this episode. It's a little bit unlikely at the moment because I would like to try and increase the amount of effective units we have in our army. And that's not to say that we don't have effective units, but we've kind of been making do, so to speak, with the current setup of our army. You know, they're not exactly the greatest or most powerful units that we could have, and that's primarily the reason why I'm a little bit dubious about it. But anyway, let's get a nice little formation going on here. We're not really going to move that far away, if at all, because this is actually the best possible location for us. We are on a hill. We can overlook every single area where enemies are going to come from, and I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, so it does use the ACOG. So as you can see, it uses the ACOG, the marksman rifle, so it doesn't have its own scope. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. Don't exactly know how it's going to go. I probably should have continued leveling up our rifle skill instead of our assault rifle proficiency, because the assault rifle, that's, you know, easy enough to hit with, but a bolt action rifle is going to be a little bit more difficult for me. So let's see how that goes. I mean, the enemy is going to be coming from not this way. They're going to be coming from over here. Yes. Great. Okay, so maybe it would be an idea for me to move these guys a little bit forward. There we go. Just to make sure that we have that area covered, because that's where they're actually coming from. I actually thought they were coming from this direction. Great. Yeah, it's just like me, isn't it? It's just like me to get confused. Fantastic. Oh well, never mind. Ah, there they are. Okay, so this is actually a pretty... Aha! It's not a bolt action. Oh my. That's pretty good in many ways. I like it. We're going to continue using this. Thank you very much. Okay, so this is actually a semi-automatic, which is pretty crazy. I'm actually really surprised that it actually is. Oh, hello. I'm kind of surprised that they're right on me right now. That is kind of fast. Okay, wish I had a grenade right now, but unfortunately I do not. So I guess I'm just going to have to rely on our squads for the moment, but you could see exactly how powerful this marksman rifle is, and it's not a bolt action, so that makes it even more effective than the Type 79 sniper rifle, because even though the Type 79 does come with its own scope, it is far from being as viable, shall we say, in these heated firefights, because obviously when you're actually doing fights like this, you need speed, you need speed, you need a pretty decent fire rate, and the bolt action just is not as responsive, shall we say, as the semi-automatic might be. So that's pretty awesome. Anyway, I think we are pretty good here. We are losing a couple of people, but that is to be expected. As I say, I think it might make sense for me to... Ah, no! Am I gonna die? Maybe. Oh dear. Yeah, it might make sense for me to go over to the drawing board, basically, and just kind of recruit a whole bunch of new volunteers, and just go from there, really, and just try and make it so that we have exactly the army that we need to defeat the forces at Chernivka, because there's gonna be a lot of people there. There's 140 people, and they are mostly ARF units, and you can see here that we're having a pretty tough time with dealing with the ARF for the most part, and so it would make sense for us to try and get units that are directly countering them. So I assume we'll probably try and recruit a whole bunch of maybe Pozna units, because the ARF are, I think, decent from a closer range, and obviously the Pozna are very, very good at long range, so it might make sense for us to have a whole bunch of Pozna sharpshooters or something along those lines. I don't exactly know how easy that's going to be, really, but there are a huge amount of bandit parties, so obviously that's going to make a decent amount of sense in regards to our XP gain. Now, we do have 4 enemies still somewhere, and I guess we're just going to send our people around a little bit just to scout. And we'll see how that's going to go. There we go. I'm just doing it roughly, really. I don't really care where they go, as long as they're going somewhere to try and scout out where the enemy may be. Alright, so I've actually narrowed down where the enemies are, and it's a very, very confusing position indeed. I actually never would have expected them to be over here. Never in a million years. I wouldn't have thought to myself, yes, they're definitely over that hill over there. But it appears like they are, so we're going to be making our way over there with our forces and with my own self, and we're going to see where they actually are, because it's kind of weird. Why are 4 people all the way over here on the top of this hill? I mean, yeah, I'd understand, if it was the Pozna, because then they'd obviously, place maybe their sharpshooters up there or something like that, but as they mainly have ARF units, it's a bit confusing. And I'm actually thinking to myself that maybe this marksman rifle that we have here, maybe this doesn't even need the ACOG scope, because with the exception of the PKA scope, I think that's what it's called at least, it's been a while since I've used that scope, but it's the extremely large magnification one. If I'm not using that one, then maybe I want to use the laser, I always say laser dot for some reason, I don't know why I do that. Anyway, red dot, yeah, maybe if I want to use the red dot or the PKA scope rather than the ACOG, because the ACOG is kind of like a middle ground for, wow, that is some damage. But yeah, anyway, the ACOG is kind of like a medium range scope in comparison to the red dot or the PKA, so I don't exactly know whether I should go for a super long range build with this particular marksman rifle, or whether I should just turn it into a glorified close range shotgun kind of thing, because obviously it's going to deal so much damage that you can just go close range do massive damage. You can go long range, massive damage. You know, you just basically can use it in any situation you want. So yeah, it could be very, very useful. Anyway, let's imprison everyone that we can. And I guess, let me know if you want to see a little bit of progression, I guess. I mean, obviously we've been making progress, but I'm talking about leveling an army and getting back to full strength. I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.